you asked me that how can I identify factory-made guitars from handmade guitars like this? And if it is true that if a guitar is handmade is good and factory-made is bad. Well, let me tell you, not necessarily. There are good guitars handmade, like these ones, Hauser, Cantor Fernandez, etc. And there are all other guitars, handmade, bad handmade guitar. The guitar is bad and it's very expensive probably. Watch the description of this video, how to rate and evaluate guitars. I will post the link there. And there you have the objective tests you can do with a ruler, with a business card, marking the frets, with coins to measure the labeling, how this setting thing matters, how it should not be bent, how the orifices or the bridge should be perfectly made, etc. Why it is important to have that, right? This is objective thing, so it's not an opinion, right? Because if we say opinion, if I tell you this is E, this is C, this is D, this is C, this is B, it's not an opinion. It is objectively B, right? So that kind of thing. Because sometimes, and in that video you will see it, even the 200 factory guitar will be much better than the so-called good handmade guitar expensive. So it's not true that because it's factory made it has to be bad, although I haven't seen any good one, really speaking, factory made, or guitar that I like personally, or that I could recommend. I said it before, I'm the worst person to ask price buyer advice. Worse, because I don't want that. I don't want about quality to save $3. Right? So this is one thing for sure, because great guitars have to be handmade. Yes, if it is a mechanical thing in the factory going to and then another like that, like a robotic thing, how it can be having sold that instrument? It cannot happen. That's true. That's totally true. But now that because it is handmade is good, that's another thing. That's not true. Therefore, you have to know to make those tests. And any guitar that passes those tests, which are very few, that can pass the tests, those objective tests, is great. Right? And of course, it has to be handmade. And how do you know what is handmade? Well, those handmade are different in everything. And for example, the purflings you can observe that here there's a human hand doing that, and if you watch the $300 one, it has everything very exact, like, because it's a robot making it, right? Of course, the other question you said is very interesting, that if it is true that you have to use all tools, and this is factory made is bad because they use many tools, and well, there is not a machine that you put the wood inside and it comes out as a guitar, that's for sure. But it seems a joke, right? But the process of so much mechanization there, it loses the soul, and that's also true. But I tell you one thing, if Santos Hernandez were alive today, or Marcelo Valero were alive today, they will make guitars with modern tools, with the best tool available in their time. So that's also another nonsense to say it has to be done with the last century tools, and then it's and only by one person. By the way, watch the description, that other video about the bogus idea that has to be one person making the guitar. That's another nonsense. Just think it doesn't make sense. If a guitar is well made, either it's well made by one person, it's well made by two persons, it's well made by three persons, or it's well made by six persons. And a guitar may be bad made by one person, by two, three, by a whole factory, it doesn't matter, right? And if a guitar is made with an assistant and an official, or two officials and one assistant, as in this case, AG has 3 luthiers doing this thing, then that doesn't mean it's factory made, of course not. But that means that 6 eyes control and succeed more than 2. So when you fly an airplane, you cannot fly an airplane, you cannot say, this airplane is great because it's flew only by one. There is a captain alone, he has not co-pilot or assistants there. Seems a joke. And hence making guitars is not easier than flying airplanes, right? The captain of the airplane is there, and then there is other 2 guys there, because he may be faint or something, and what do you do, right? So actually it's a disadvantage, this thing of one only person, or all tools. What to speak of all tools? Why you should use all tools? Like suppose, do you know this first Cell phones, the first cell phones invented, it was a brick like this. Then you go to the bar, put that there in the table, and everyone says, wow, this guy has a cell phone. Remember that? What if I said, this is the tradition, we love tradition, let's stick to that cell phone. I don't want the iPhone, I want that, the original one. It's a nonsense thing, because it has so many limitations compared to the iPhone, for example, or to the modern phones of any company, today, right, nowadays. So things have to evolve, and of course the tools to make it has also evolved.